Hey everybody, hope you guys all healthy and safe. This watch I'm wearing right here, it's the Oppo Watch. Now, this watch does a lot right, but there's no denying that Oppo has borrowed a lot of design cues and inspirations from the Apple Watch. Everything from the packaging to the way the rectangular screen looks to even the back design and the rubber straps. There's just no denying that this is meant to look like an Apple Watch, and you know, as someone who's kind of like a creative individual, I have to knock some points off of that in my final conclusion, final review, because it is just unbecoming when you do a product that's kind of borrowing an established design, especially from a famous design. But once I got over my initial distaste about the lack of originality, I gotta admit, I really like the Oppo Watch. This is really well built hardware and it does a lot of things very well. So anyway, this is my full review of the Oppo Watch. This is the international version, 46mm. Okay, let's look at the hardware first. We have this 46mm OLED panel. It looks absolutely gorgeous to my eyes. This is even larger than the 44mm. Well, obviously 46 is larger than 44, but obviously larger than the Apple Watch screen. And despite the fact that it's larger, this only weighs 40 grams and is relatively thin, so it still fits on my wrist pretty nicely. Now this screen actually curves a little bit on the left and right side, kind of like the Oppo Find X2 Pro or any other recent Samsung or Huawei flagships, and I quite like it. It makes swiping through the menus a little bit smoother because your fingers swiping through rounded corners, and it adds a nice little visual touch like images are spilling off the screen. Now charging is done via this proprietary charger. You just snap it on the back and it stays on magnetically. Now this supports Oppo's fast charge, super fast charge technology. Not as fast as a phone, but you can top up this watch from 0 to 100 in about 50 minutes. And the good news is battery life on this is a little bit better than battery life on the Apple Watch, because on a fully charged Oppo Watch you can get about 2 days of use, of heavy use too. Now instead of a digital crown like on the Apple Watch, you have two hardware buttons. The top button, basically you press it once, it goes into the app screen, or whenever you're in an app, you press it again and it will back out. The second button is customizable. You can press it to launch whatever you want. By default, it launches fitness. Now I'll talk more about the accuracy of the fitness tracking in a bit, but right off the bat I want to talk about this really cool feature that guides you through workouts. You have a bunch to choose from, like morning stretches, fat burn, all of that. So basically the point of this is you wear this on your wrist, you can watch the exercise and follow along, and then it'll keep track of your heart rate, and at the end it'll tell you, and at the end it'll give you your workout results, like how many calories you've burned, all of that. Now that speaker you just heard is on the left side of the watch. Unfortunately, I would say it's only useful when you're in a quiet environment like I am right now, because when you're outside, it's hard to hear. Now this is particularly problematic when you're in a phone call. Yes. I can barely hear my girlfriend. I have to kind of put my ears closer to the watch just to hear, because I'm outside on the street and Hong Kong is always damn noisy. But the mics are good because she says she can hear me pretty clearly. Now in terms of software, this watch runs on Wear OS. So that means the first time you pair the Oppo Watch, you have to download Wear OS app and just sync everything up. It's pretty easy to sync, and then from here you will get to set, you know, a lot of options like activate Google Assistant, your notification settings, and you can choose from several different watch faces. This is not the only app that you would need if you want to make full use of the Oppo Watch. There's also a proprietary app called Hey Health. So this also syncs to your Oppo Watch, and then this app will give you more detailed breakdown of your fitness stats, including sleep tracking, which the watch does pretty good. And you also have more watch face options right here. You can also change the watch face directly on the app by long pressing on it and cycling through. Now, these watch faces for the most part are very aesthetically pleasing. Some of them are even interactive, like this one where you can pop the balloon, and you can also put your own pictures, not just one picture but multiple pictures. As you can see, I have two right here. So this is good for narcissists who like to put their own face as a wallpaper on phones. I mean, you've seen those people, right? I see them a lot out in Hong Kong at coffee shops. It's usually like some girl that she'll take out her iPhone and it'll just be her face as a background, and I just cannot get over the mentality of why you would want a picture of yourself as a wallpaper. But Anyway, whatever the case, you can have your picture fill up the entire screen. Now, if I have to complain about the selection of watch faces, is that most of them look pretty nice, but they don't give you enough complications. You see right here, you can see steps and heart, but you can't really interact with them. On the Apple Watch, you have multiple different complications that you can press and immediately jump into that feature. So for example, on my Apple Watch, I've had it set up that if I want to use the calculator, I just tap on this, I immediately jump into calculator. Or I jump on this, I can record a voice memo. You cannot do that here. If I want to record a voice memo or go into calculator, I have to go into the app screen, find that app, and then tap into it. But another good news is because this is running Google's Android Wear, that means you have access to a lot of native Google apps, including Google Maps. You can also run Google Keep or Google Translate. And for Google Translate, you can either speak your what you want to translate into the watch, or you can type it. But unfortunately, neither of these work as well as on the Apple Watch. So when you're trying to speak to the watch, whether you're trying to do Google Translate or responding to a notification or using Google Assistant, I would say the voice dictation picks up maybe with about 80-85% accuracy. A lot of times it'll just get the wrong word that I'm trying to say. And if I'm in an environment that's kind of noisy, like freaking Hong Kong, this will not pick up. Whereas on the Apple Watch, I find the dictation to be like 95% accurate. Now, another way to respond or to input text into the watch is to type. This pops up a mini keyboard on the screen, and it's just a little bit hard to type because the keys are so cramped. The good news is you can swipe to type, and the autocorrect is pretty good, but it's still no match for the Apple Watch, which has a feature called Scribble that allows you to basically just draw out the alphabet you want on your wrist, and it'll pick it up and spell the words, and it picks up very, very fast. Now, as I already said, you can get notifications on this watch from WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, Facebook Messenger, whatever, and they come through in a timely manner, and you can respond again with either voice or typing. Now, all the fitness tracking features of the Oppo Watch works pretty well too. So the heart rate sensor, as you can see, returns the same results roughly as the Apple Watch. So that means it's very, very accurate because the Apple Watch has been scientifically proven by Stanford Medical Center that its heart rate sensor is highly accurate. So the fact that the Oppo Watch can keep up, it's good news. Step counts, from what I can tell, is also very, very accurate because I walked earlier and I was counting steps in my head, and the number on the wrist actually matched that. Sleep tracking too. Now, this is a cool feature because you don't even get sleep tracking on your Apple Watch yet. You will get it in the fall with the new Watch OS update, but as of now, 4 years into the Apple Watch's life, you still cannot get native sleep tracking on Apple's watch, but you can get it on Oppo's watch from just the first generation, and it is pretty accurate. So this larger, more premium version of the Oppo Watch, the 46mm, it's rated 5 ATM water resistance. That means it's water resistance up to 50 meters, so you can take it swimming, definitely. But the cheaper version of this watch, the cheaper, smaller version, the 41mm, does not have 5 ATM, it has 3 ATM. So that's water resistance up to 30 meters. So overall, like I said at the beginning, other than the fact that the design of this watch is not original at all, I really, really like the Oppo Watch. I've been loving the Apple Watch for several years now, and it's always made me sad that this only works with iPhone, and whenever I switch to Android, which is most of the time, I have to put up with something inferior. Before that, I had tested the Fitbit Versa 2, which I really like, to be honest, but the design is just a little bit clunky and doesn't look anywhere near as nice as the Oppo Watch. The Oppo Watch has a larger screen, has slimmer bezels. It just looks a little bit nicer and more polished than the Fitbit Versa 2. So that means now the new king of Android smartphones, at least for me, is the Oppo Watch. Now the final bit, pricing. It's a little bit complicated because, as usual with Chinese brands, the pricing is all over the place. So the Oppo Watch in India, I believe, sells for this particular model, the 46mm, in India sells for 20,000 rupees. That comes out to about 270 US dollars. But then meanwhile in England, this watch starts at, I believe, 350 pounds. That's like almost 400 US dollars. So we're talking about, in England, this watch is 400 American dollars. In India, this watch is 260 American dollars. I don't know what the hell is going on with this huge difference, but it is what it is. It's kind of like how the Oppo Find X2 Pro in Europe costs like $300, 300 US dollars more than whatever it costs in Hong Kong. So depending on where you are, this watch is either relatively expensive or a really good price. I think $260 for this is really damn good. So anyway, that's about it for my full review of the Oppo Watch. I think if you've always liked an Apple Watch but you use an Android, this is the watch for you. This is definitely going to be what I'm wearing for the next few weeks as I test the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro Ultra, and man, there are a lot of Ultras out there and a couple of other phones. So if you're interested in staying up to date with all the latest smartphones or gadgets, please subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Review. So that's it for now. Stay healthy, stay safe, and please wear a mask when you step out. Thanks for watching.